Now, Chief Meteorologist Scott Dorval with the On Your Side forecast.
And keeping an eye on weather trends here because we're in a time when the pattern is just not changing all that much. I showed you the temperature history yesterday when we bottomed out at the end of October here with that really cold 35-degree day. And look at these temperatures. They've been rising ever since, up to 59 yesterday. And we look at the number today, that trend continuing, topping 60 degrees. Now 62 just coming in this past hour. And the trend here is for above average. To see this 55 average, that's for today. At the end of 10 days, the average high temperature is 47. Look at these numbers at 52. So this line is really, the red line should be slanted here, and we will likely stay above average. The charts keep bringing in that milder weather because the computers like to break down ridges of dry high pressure early. And so the question is, when is that actually going to happen? It's not going to happen in the next 10 days. Now, we may have a couple little waves of energy coming in maybe towards the end of this coming weekend, but these zeros are the chance of precipitation for Boise over the next 10 days. It is just not happening. Yesterday, I mentioned some high clouds will drift in from the west. Here we go. These clouds here, they're kind of sliding down in this direction, but just high clouds are coming in as the sun's going down. Our air quality advisory has been lifted now for the valley. It is still in effect up in northern sections. The bottom line is still a little bit of an inversion, but there's some cooler air trying to come in aloft right now that tends to uncap the atmosphere. But there's still a big ridge of high pressure in general across the west. It blocks everything, sends all the moisture to the north, then it goes down to the south and to the east, and it generally weakens. This is not a stormy pattern for the United States. It's probably the best pattern to have nothing going on across the country. That's pretty much what's going on now. But it is warm at Rome, 70 in Bend as well, 66 in Medford. That warm air kind of hanging on in, and I think we'll be generally in this pattern here for some time to come. There's those clouds passing by tonight with sunshine again during the day tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, you see it right here. And on Thursday, another patch of clouds tries to move on through. That will come in probably on Thursday night as well. But with our jet stream to the north here, we're going to see some clouds starting to dip on down from the north. We might even get precipitation from north of the Salmon River over the weekend and slightly beyond. Speaking of the weekend, Friday night and Saturday night, we've got football. Saturday night, Wyoming coming to Boise State on the blue at 8:15. Temperature-wise, 53. This is November. Partly cloudy, light wind right through the game, down to 41 by 11 o'clock, which isn't bad considering when we had that cold air in place, we were dropping into the 20s after 9 o'clock. Now we're going to stay in the 40s at 11 o'clock at night. Bogus Basin not blowing any new snow, but we're going to keep an eye on to see if the snow can hold. The temperature hits 55 at the base, and I'm sure it's melting. You just don't notice it here that much, which is certainly good news. And maybe we'll hang on to some of that snow. We have to go through many days of nothing happening up here for, a long time, over a week. Likely before anything comes in, probably longer than that. Here's the European forecast model, which is one of the cooler of the two forecast models, trying to bring cooler weather in towards the end of this. This is mid-November, and it's still showing precipitation barely even hitting the center part of the state. All of it going by to the north here. And the bottom line is that when you look at the snow, that of course obviously stays to the north as well because we have milder than normal temperatures. Storm track still over Montana and not strong. This precipitation outlook is for November 13th through the 19th, probably drier than normal with no changes above normal northern sections, cool in the east and milder in the west. So milder than normal and drier than normal is likely through mid-November. I just don't see any signs even out 16 days I see the weather pattern changing. So that's closer to the 20th, which is pretty typical this time of year. That can happen, and that may end up being the case. Tomorrow is still near 60, 63 in Garden Valley with sunshine and light wind. We may have a little bit of a wind shift, but nothing major. 52 in the McCall area tomorrow. And when you look at the Stanley and Sun Valley, no changes. Temperatures primarily in the 50s with a mostly sunny sky and topping 60 degrees in the Twin Falls area with sunshine as well. My extended forecast, not a huge change. We might dip down to 57, but back up to 60 going into the weekend. May not be mostly cloudy Saturday, probably partly cloudy. And I hinted on 16 days out on the 19th and 20th, I start to see a better looking jet stream coming in from the Pacific instead of from Canada. And that brings moisture in. But a lot of times, right in that Thanksgiving weekend.
I was just say closer to Thanksgiving.
That's a lot of times when we have a dry start to November, that's when it changes. And it looks like this could be the same time frame. Let's hope it's earlier.
All right. Thanks, Scott.